Hello, this is Fiona McMillan, Info 244, Spring of 2020, and I'm going to talk to you about my client project and LibGuide on searching for academic sources on near-death experiences. This PowerPoint will present a client search that I conducted using myself as the client. As well as taking my MLIS at San Jose State University, I am concurrently a PhD of religion student and also a single mom, so I'm very busy. That's why I kind of like hitting two birds with one stone. I specialize in comparative religions, and I am very interested in religious experience, and especially the near-death experience, or the NDE. This is when people come very close to dying and they have mystical experiences, perhaps of leaving their body, going through a tunnel of light, meeting dead ancestors, and coming back with a changed perspective on life. I'm sure you've heard about these in popular culture. Like many graduate students, I got stuck in a rut using Google, not even with the advanced searching, still stuck in the basic, and also our academic library catalogue to find sources. I wanted to use the skills I'd learned in my online searching class and apply it to searching for a topic of interest in theology. One of my complaints about most databases is that they focus mainly on scientific or social science articles. Very few databases are dedicated to religion. I found it difficult to write everything I had to in a linear Word document. So I incorporated a LibGuide, which has the link here. And it's not a typical LibGuide, it's quite a messy LibGuide because each section shows how exactly I searched in about a dozen databases. So the audience is both myself, because the LibGuide is a record of my searching, which is useful for me, but also for my colleagues in my college, Claremont School of Theology, doing the MDiv or PhD. Just by looking at how I searched for my topic, they could insert another topic such as the Book of Deuteronomy and go to similar databases and use the similar search techniques to find their own results. So I did my client project based on my own searching needs to complete a bibliography for an academic theological literature review on near-death experiences. I am a technical librarian at Claremont School of Theology, as well as a PhD religion student, and I made the LibGuide so this method could be used for other theology topics. The implementation and testing plan is that I will share this informally with my colleagues and show them how easily they can use this approach to research their own topics. I will ask them for feedback and discuss different search methods and relational databases with them. It is also a guide I can refer to. And in the future, when I've actually finished doing my research on NDEs, I think I might make a tidy version of the LibGuide that's a little easier to follow. So here's what my LibGuide looks like, and I've given it a title, Using Different Databases to Search for Sources Relevant to a Topic in Religious Studies, Near-Death Experiences, Home. I had a little bit of difficulty trying to figure out how do I spell near-death experiences. I've put it here without a hyphen, but you equally see it with a hyphen. It's a little bit random. If you want to be specific, the best way to search is to go by the Library of Congress subject headings, and there it actually is near-death experiences. And there's a reason for the hyphen, which I found when I was searching, and it's really fascinating. You see, near is a Boolean operator, and the little dash can also in Google search mean a negative, which is kind of not or do not include something. So when I put near and a dash in a search engine, it can get completely confused. So I would put near and death in parentheses, and that made it a little bit easier. I also had to include the term NDE, and that is an acronym for near-death experiences, and search for both at the same time. Very often, and I found this, that most book titles and most article titles have these key two phrases in them, either near-death experiences or NDE. It's very unusual to find anything written on this topic that doesn't include this in the title. So you'll see that I have the home, the introduction, comparison and analysis, conclusion and recommendations. And I did a little bit of information on how I searched, planning the search, search strategies, search tools, search by keywords, search by author, search by citation, bibliography, and search by title. That's all. So what else I wanted to say? So I looked at a dozen different databases using my login privileges to 4 libraries, 3 academic and 1 public. They gave me access to all different kinds of databases, and different libraries had different databases. No library had all the databases, so it was quite a hunt. I should mention that there are 2 types of database, free and subscription based. I found that neither is superior over the other. I do think that a variety of different databases should be used to get the best results, because each database draws from different sources and has a different audience in mind. My LibGuide is less than orthodox. It is very detailed as a guide to both myself and other theology students. I liked recording my retrieved results in the LibGuide format, and I prefer their columns and the presentation format. My main search query was very simple. My strategy was to use the same query in a dozen databases or search engines and then compare the quality of results. My basic query after some experimentation was, and everything's in quotation marks, near-death experience, wildcard, close quotation marks, or, that's the Boolean operator, open quotation marks, NDE, asterisk, close quotation marks, dot, quite long. I retrieved both articles and books. The best journal was the Journal of Near-Death Studies, and later on in this PowerPoint you'll see pictures of some of the great books I discovered. These are pictures of some of the great books, and you'll see that there are 2 different kinds of genres. There's the popular culture aimed at everyday people that are a joy to read, personal experiences, such as Embraced by the Light by Betty Eady. And there's also some very academic books which give more of a theological analysis. There's a book that you might have heard of, Proof of Heaven by Ibn Alexander, which brings the science versus NDE debate, which is very current right now. And I do encourage you to go on Amazon and delve into some of these books because they're very fascinating. Here are pictures of some of the books that I found in my searching. What I did find is that some books, for instance, the Handbook of Near-Death Experiences and Religion, Spirituality and the Near-Death Experience and Conceptions of the Afterlife in Early Civilizations, were found across multiple databases. Some of them are more popular in nature, such as Embraced by the Light by Betty Eady. Some of them are about science against the NDE argument, such as Proof of Heaven and Neurosurgeon's Journey into the Afterlife by Ibn Alexander. Some are very academic, such as Conceptions of the Afterlife in Early Civilizations. Whatever your interests are, be it academic or popular, it's very interesting to research these books, and you can always go to Amazon and have a little dip. So in conclusion, the best theology and religious studies databases are, on the one hand, the Google family of products. They're fantastic. But on the subscription side, the ATLA religion database. ATLA stands for the American Theological Libraries Association. They had a really excellent mix of both books and articles, and it was really easy to search. Next, ProQuest ebooks and ProQuest religion were excellent. They were very different from ProQuest dialogue, which was an absolute disaster. It hardly brought me any results. I also found ProQuest dissertations and theses global very, very valuable, because if I'm going to write a dissertation, I need to find out what other dissertations in the world have been written in this subject. It's hardly good to write something very similar to something that's been written before. So part of PhD research is finding your field, what's been written in your field, and looking at other dissertations is key. I really like Nexus Uni for the newspaper testimonies. It's not academic really. The stuff it pulled when I put in the search for near-death experiences were personal testimonies of car accidents and strange happenings that were reported in local newspapers. Really interesting reads. And these little snippets of personal testimony are something that can be put inside a theological framework and academically analyzed. JSTOR, Religion and Philosophy Collection, and EBSCO Host, ebook religion collection, and Phil papers were really, really good. I really enjoyed using those databases, and I got a lot of rich results. So there was some duplication, but I did recommend using something like Zotero or another kind of software, so that you can draw from all these different databases and then make one major list. Of course, although the databases were excellent, it's absolutely necessary in the humanities to use a library catalogue to full advantage. I'm used to OCLC WorldCat, and it doesn't matter if the book I'm looking for isn't available in my library. As long as I know it exists, I can find a way to get it. I can look on OCLC and find what other libraries have a book and then order it through interlibrary loan, or I can go to Amazon and purchase it. There are multiple ways, but it's a really good way to find out about what books exist. And all of these databases and the catalogs have a way for you to save your searches. And I would always emphasize saving your searches, because you can go away for a week and come back and you've forgotten everything. But if you've saved a search, have a username and a login, you're always going to be making progress. So please, if you're going to be giving reference interviews to clients, just encourage them to save their searches. And I'd like to end with two little quotes which made me laugh. One is from Ran Hawk, who wrote one of the books that we used in our course. My final bit of advice is explore. As you use the sites I've mentioned, or any site, take a few extra seconds to look around. Poke into the corners of a site, and if it looks very promising, click everywhere. And that's the advice I would give. Just go, explore, don't be afraid. Click, 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 and you will get an eye for picking out pearls and treasures. And Brown and Bell, who in their introduction said databases have become almost magical. And it really is magical that with a click of a mouse, you can find so much information. And there is so much information that we cannot be swamped in it. Exercise caution, be organized. It is messy out there in the internet, but you can come away with some fabulous lists. And I wish you all success in your online searching. Bye-bye.